don't trade called Clay. And let's do a breakdown of a trade. So first things first, we're looking for 1 hour moon alerts here, here, here. And then we're looking for the 15-minute layout. So first things first, let's locate some 1 hour moons. There's some 1 hour green moons. And some 1 hour red moons. All right, so that's the section we're going to be reviewing here. Now I want to take a quick look here at the 4 hour. And all I want to do on the 4 hour is grab the trend, just so you understand how to operate and trade within trend cycles, right? So let's grab a rectangle. This right here is the plus. And that's going to be the 4 hour plus trend. And then right now we're currently in a downtrend, right? But we can see it's bending here. And let's slide over to the 1 hour. All right, so here's our moons. Now this happens to be in a downward trend. So the upward green moons will be on the slower side or weaker side because we are currently in a downward trend until that flips over. And I'm going to show you the difference here. I'm going to mark some of these off. So you can see here, we have a 1 hour green moon. And 1 hour red. All right, so let's slide over here. So we can see here the difference in how something manifests, right? So let's take a look at this first section here. We have our moon come in, we get a moon alert, right? Red moon, we get a green moon alert. We can see the 1 hour crossing to the top, that's a bonus. Here's our alert right here. So on this particular move here, we can see how much of a difference happens when we get a 4 hour red trend. Notice that pump that comes into that play, right? So that's what you want to catch of those momentums. Now let's slide over to the 15-minute. Take a look at that first section over here. And here's what we see. So going into here, what we're looking for is what? We look for the 15-minute moon. We get a 1 hour alert. Second thing that we need is what? We need the 15-minute positive volume to break above positive volume. And then we need it to do what? Pull back for the retest. Then once it gets its retest in, this is where we would be entering the play. Once the 15-minute RSI makes its way to the bottom, it starts to move back up. So this is where we would take our entry point. That happens to be right here. So we would be entering right there. Okay. Now, as it builds momentum, obviously we can see we get our move to the top. Here you see we get the first pullback of this move, which would be a 15-minute moon. Doesn't really affect us because our stop loss is set up, so we're entering somewhere in here. And that basically goes right back to its entry position, and we should be at this point. We should still be at least a 15%. We'll take a look here, see what that pump is. Let's see here. So 1926. Pull down to here. Okay. So what actually happens here is on this first move, we're above a 1%, right about 1%. So we'd have been about 37%. Your stop loss would have been set at 20. You would have triggered your stop loss at that point on this red moon. And then what you would have done is got ready for your next trade, which is the 15-minute RSI coming to the bottom and coming back up and catching this green moon here, which would create another entry for you on this trade. Because remember, you're trading the move of the 1 hour moon trend, etc. So there's your first entry. This does hit a profit, 37%. It pulls back, takes the stop loss at 20 because you would have moved to 20% because you're above 35. And then what would happen here? You did a stop loss. Then we reset the moons from green to red The RSI comes down, starts back up. We get another 15-minute moon entry, puts us in here, take the top of that candle. And now we go for the ride. So on here, as we run through, we can see that we don't get our next 15-minute moon and RSI crossing till this top piece, just somewhere off this candle. So if you're moving your profit taking positions, as you learn to, basically what that means is when you get to your 37-40% profit mark, as you start to become someone who can see further gains, etc. What you start doing, just how you move your stop loss, you move your profit taking, right? So if you're watching the trade and it gets to 40%, you move your target, your take profit target up to 100, and you start to watch it. And then what you do is you move your stop loss by 30% behind. So if you get to 70% in profits, your stop loss would be at 40. You get to 100% profits, your stop loss would be at 70. And you would keep moving your take profit and stay ahead by 50% until you get a signal, which would be a red moon alert. And that's where you would decide to take profits. Right, so the red moon alert comes in, just like the 15-minute green comes in. This alert comes in, says that you're getting a red moon. You take profits somewhere in here. When you learn to do this properly, that's a 20x move, which would be 9, 18, 2,700%. Do you guys see that move? So this is Discord. Can you hear me? King Fame US. What up, man? Yo, Discord. Can you hear me? Okay, so that's how you. Yeah, that's that basic move right there. So now let's slide down here. And this is the power of having a 4-hour trend with you. Now let's go down here and let's go to where we have a trade that's a little against the grain, right? So currently we're in a 4-hour downtrend, which is what we have here, right? Now, as you start to see those, as you notice, every time there's a moon, right, that pops in, there's no positive volume on the 15 minutes. So we don't take advantage of those trades until they become positive volume and retesting. So this might be a trade here that we would get a 1-hour moon. Then we would check the 15-minute. And as you can see here, the 15-minute volume barely breaks above, doesn't retest, right? The RSI is at the top. You would allow the RSI to finish. So if we were going to enter, it would be on this section here. But because that is not positive volume, we elect to stay out, makes its move, breaks positive, can't hold positive. So if anything, this might be a trade that you guys would try to take advantage of if you misread the situation. But also, it is above again, and it slowly breaks down, and the RSI is bending up from a 50 line, right? So you might enter this and try this little peak here, right? So let's measure this out. And what we can see is this little peak goes for 0.81%. Now, if you're doing a 30x, that right there would probably be about 25, 27%. So your stop loss would have moved from that level to basically the entry point, or possibly a 20% stop loss area. But either way, you would have broke even on this trade, and it would became a little bit different, because you would have noticed, because it got so weak and it couldn't break out, it becomes a 15-minute red moon. You would have took advantage of this short position and made all your money back on that lost trade and then some. Okay, well, let's just focus on longs here. So now, as we move along, you can see in that trade we have a 1-hour red moon right here. That's what this represents. That would turn us into a 15-minute red moon, 15-minute red trend, RSI pushing down, and then we would take advantage of this short. All right, so now we get another green moon, happens right here. So you can see we have a 15-minute green moon. We need the volume to go positive. We need it to retest, which it does here, positive, retest, and now you'd be entering on the 15-minute RSI right here on the bounce. So which means you would be entering on this trade here. So it puts you somewhere in here. Now this one happens to gain more momentum, right? You can see here in the volume. That one we actually get a spike in. So when we get that spike, this one brings us up to 7%. So if we're doing a 30x, that's 70, 140, 210. It's a 210% gain right there. So now so far we are plus pretty big on the first trade. We're negative. We broke even on this trade, and now we are up another 200% on this trade. I think the first trade was what 30%, so 30, 60, 90, some great, some stupid. But that's how you play this trade, and this is why we do 10 trades reviews, is because you have to, understand you're not going to win every trade, but you need to enter every trade the same so that you can be aware of your progress, right? So then moving down here, once again, we get a 15-minute moon. Let me see where we're at as far as the 1 hour. All right, so far I don't have a 1 hour green moon, but it looks like it's coming. It'll be in this area here. Let me see my alerts. Play 1 hour moon alert fired off at 20:59. We're currently at 2100. Yeah, so literally just fired off. So it's firing a moon off. I would go look at my 15-minute. And what I need from my 15 minutes, very simple. I need the 15-minute to push up. I need the volume to retest, which I have. Then I need the RSI moving to the top, which it is. So the only thing I would do here is I would allow my 15-minute RSI to come down one more time. And then I would enter my position somewhere in this spot here, 21, 26, something like that. As you can see here on the trade, it's moving to the upside. So once I enter my position, right, let's say we enter our position. We're going to run it right here. Open your long position. My stop loss is going to be set at 30. My take profit is going to be set at 50. And that is how you set your trade, to set it and forget it. And we're going to let that play out. And that's how we're going to track the trades. So that is the basics to your trades. And then we go back and forth and we just count pluses and negatives, and then we go from there. All right, so let's take a look here at one more trade for the video. So you guys can go watch that other video I just posted. And then I'm going to post a time for tomorrow. Alf, what's going on, baby? Let's go to coin alerts. All right, currently on coin alerts, guys. Let's take a peek here. Let's see where I jump to present. All right, we have a 1 hour red trend on Solana, Clay, a 1 hour red moon, Clay, a 1 hour green moon. Clay is kind of going back and forth with each other. Let's move down to Sol, ETH. I need a moon trend. Clay, Casper, trend, whatever, green trend, wild, trends, trend, moon, Ethereum, wild. We got a lot of green and red trends here. All right, Blitz, green moon. I think Blitz was one I was thinking about taking off there. So let's go look at some basics. Let me see what's hot or not based on. All right, so API 3 is down 14%. All right, anything up here? Doge is up 9%. Talked about that yesterday. Let's take a look at API 3. All right, so now API 3. AP. You got me right there, bro? You hear me or no? API 3. How about that right there? You hear me? So we're going to turn this into API 3 right here. We're going to do a basic check on here. We're going to start off where we're at with the moons on the 15. It's red. All right, so let's go look at our moons on the 1 hour. So first things first, if I want to get into a trade here, I want to get into a moon trade. So I'm going to set this for API 3. I'm going to add an alert once per minute. I'm going to put it on here on the 1 hour moon. I'm going to create. And when the 1 hour green moon comes in, I'm going to slide over to the 15-minute. And what I'm going to need to do a long, guys, remember this is one of the key factors to realize how strong your trade is. I need the volume to break the 15-minute positive. I needed to retest the 15-minute and then the RSI to retest the bottom. And when that starts to head up, that is the key to the entry. So as long as I had a retest on the volume, on the positive side, then I enter on the 15-minute RSI on the bounce. Then I set an alert on the 15-minute moon. And what that tells me is when the 15-minute moon comes in again, it's going to be a red moon, which is where I will sell my position. All right, guys. So that's the breakdown of how we're doing the trade. That's all we're doing there, guys. Now, in your book, remember, you want to write down how much percentages it went negative before it went positive. Like you can see here, I can look at this trade on Clay. I can say that it went negative 20%. And then if that's the lowest it goes before it goes the other direction, then I would write down on the other side how far it went, the highest it went. So I want the lowest percentage it went. I want the highest percentage it went. And then I want what happened. Stop loss at 0, at stop loss at 30, 15, 0, or 20% profits, right? And that's what we need to do so that we can get you guys in a position to understand how to make some corrections in there. So that's the basis of doing the trades that we want to set up in there. Always the same thing. That's it. Any questions on that, guys? Any questions you guys can think of on there? Do you guys understand how to set that up? How about that, bro? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're kind of muffled though.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Any questions on that? So all this will be in video for you guys. You can go back and watch it. All right. Any questions before I kill off that feed?